People don't treat you randomly. They treat you according to the patterns you've created. This isn't theory, it's observable. Every interaction you've had has taught people something about you, whether you intended it or not. Silence, accommodation, forgiveness. Every response sends a signal. Every boundary you fail to enforce becomes a precedent. You've noticed it before. Someone starts respectful, slowly testing limits, expecting more, pushing further. Eventually, they reach a point where they operate within the space you've allowed, not because they decided to be disrespectful, because you taught them, through repeated response, what is possible. Human behavior is reactive. It learns. It repeats what works. The brain does not interpret silence as kindness. It interprets silence as permission. A minor dismissal absorbed without response is recorded as acceptable. An interruption ignored is normalized. Over time, these small lessons accumulate into consistent patterns. Every relationship follows the same mechanics. People calibrate you. They test boundaries. They push until resistance appears. If resistance is weak or inconsistent, the pattern solidifies. This is why disrespect repeats across jobs, friendships, and relationships. It's not coincidence. It's training. Emotional response is a reward. When you react angrily, the behavior is reinforced with energy. When you explain, justify, or over-accommodate, the brain notes, result achieved, safe, repeatable. Consequences shape behavior far more than intentions. What you tolerate defines the system. Patterns escalate incrementally. Disrespect rarely arrives fully formed. It begins with subtle boundary tests, a slight tone shift, an overlooked commitment, a minor dismissal. In that moment, a choice occurs: enforce or absorb. Absorption becomes the lesson. Repetition strengthens it. The person doesn't consciously exploit you. They respond to what works. Inconsistency compounds the problem. Enforcing a boundary once but not the next 3 times creates intermittent reinforcement. The brain interprets this as uncertainty. Push more, test further. This is the same mechanism that drives gambling addiction. Behavior persists because the environment occasionally rewards it. The moment your standards fluctuate, you train disrespect. Calm, consistent responses reset this system. Change what you allow. Reduce access when behavior crosses the line. Withdraw without drama. Stop explaining. Stop negotiating. Presence alone becomes instruction. Predictable, high-status behavior signals what is acceptable and what is not. Value alone does not protect you. People can see your worth and still test, probe, and disrespect if the cost is zero. Boundaries, not intrinsic value, define the consequences. Silence and consistency are the tools. When a boundary is crossed, a behavioral consequence must follow. The lesson must be tangible: distance, reduced access, recalibration. Consider authority figures. The same person who interrupts you freely rarely interrupts their superior. Why? Because consequences are immediate and consistent. Respect is learned. People adjust to environments, not intentions. When you treat every minor cross as negotiable, you teach tolerance. When you enforce consequences, you teach limits. Reprogramming requires patience and precision. Do not explain. Do not justify. Adjust responses. Reduce engagement. Withdraw attention. The absence of reinforcement teaches faster than confrontation. The discomfort they feel is the signal. It confirms the boundary is working. Adaptation occurs automatically. Consistency is paramount. One calm, repeated response is more effective than sporadic emotion or argument. Over time, patterns shift. Some individuals will rise to meet the new boundaries, others will exit. Both outcomes are beneficial. Control is regained, not over them, but over the system. You decide the terms. Strategic withdrawal amplifies clarity. Stop being available on demand. Stop accommodating unnecessary breaches. Let presence or absence communicate value and expectation. Repetition of this method recalibrates behavior without confrontation. Compliance is guided, not negotiated. Respect is neither granted nor assumed. It is a function of reinforced behavior. Every tolerated breach communicates allowance. Every enforced boundary communicates standard. The difference is visible in subsequent interactions: punctuality, attentiveness, tone, consideration. Patterns emerge with precision. Human behavior adapts faster than we realize. Once the environment signals a new rule set, individuals adjust subconsciously. They notice distance before understanding rationale. They modify actions without explicit negotiation. The shift is mechanical, predictable, undeniable. The final realization is ownership. You are not responsible for others' impulses. You are responsible for what you permit. Every repeated tolerance, every over-accommodation is a choice. Choices accumulate. They form patterns. They teach behavior. Control returns the moment you stop reinforcing undesired actions and silently enforce consistent standards. This is not manipulation. It is alignment with human behavioral mechanics. Change responses. Remove unnecessary access. Enforce boundaries silently. Let presence, consistency, and consequence teach. Once implemented, interactions transform. People either adapt to the clarity or self-select out. Either way, the system aligns with your standards. Respect, access, and compliance are outcomes of pattern management. Once understood, you see the mechanism everywhere. Every repeated boundary test, every escalation, every tolerated breach is no longer random. It is instruction. You have been teaching, consciously or not, your entire life. Now you control the curriculum. Clarity, consistency, and presence replace confusion, inconsistency, and accommodation. You no longer negotiate respect. You demonstrate it. Boundaries are no longer optional. Every interaction communicates the new rules. Behavioral recalibration occurs quietly, inevitably, and completely. This is how control returns. Not through argument, not through persuasion, not through status assumed. Control exists in the disciplined management of what you allow, what you tolerate, and how consistently consequences follow. Patterns adjust, behavior aligns. Respect is no longer a possibility, it becomes the default outcome.